what's up? I'm your host, Torry, and who is ready to be petty? Wow, welcome to 2019. It is day 2, January 2nd, and I am overwhelmed. I am doing kind of the typical thing of reevaluating my whole entire life, which I guess I'm saying is typical. Unsure if other people do that, but I for sure do every January. And I usually do this, I guess, pre-New Year's Eve. But this year I was too busy, which is kind of a humble brag. Like, I was busy with lots of fun plans. But yeah, now I'm doing all of this afterthought in January of trying to resolve my whole life. I kind of like it, honestly. It's kind of like starting a blank page, a new year, making action plans and all of those type of things. But also it's like, wow, there's a lot I need to work on, Also, by the way, on this pod, I'm trying to be more peppy, not petty, but peppy, because I overheard my mom listening to one of my episodes and I was like, wow, I sound like fucking Wednesday Addams, like so depressed and like monotone, like my Science 10 teacher. Like, love you if you're listening to this, but I don't want to be monotone. I want to be like upbeat and funny, and so I'm trying to be a little bit more peppy, put a little pep in my step. Anyways, I guess I'm not trying to resolve my whole entire life, or am I? But just making some resolutions or some intentions for this coming year. I heard someone talk about creating intentions, not resolutions, of things that you intend to do in the new year. And I was like, I kind of like that. It seems a little flowery for my practical attitude, but I kind of like it. I'm digging it. So last year, my New Year's resolution was to use my reusable grocery bags when I went to the grocery store. And honestly, I'm like shook to my core, but I had like a 90% success rate. It was actually really successful. The other day I was at the grocery store and I saw, also it's like no one cares about this. Like, this is literally the most boring content ever. But anyways, bear with me. I was at the grocery store and there was like a sign that said like, did you remember your reusable bags? And I was like, oh my God, who does that? And I'm like, this is kind of like a trope. Like, who remembers their reusable bags? But then I was like, hey, wait a second. I do. I like killed it last year. So yeah, my New Year's resolution was to use my reusable bags. And that went really well. So I have high hopes for 2019. What is your resolution for the year? I don't know. There's so much shit I need to change in my life. It's like this either goes like really, really well. Like, oh, there's this minor thing I need to fine tune. Or I'm like, wow, I need to do a fucking overhaul. And that's kind of how I'm feeling these days. So then I decided, like, instead of list these huge major things that I would like to work on, I would just kind of narrow it down to something more simple so I can be a little bit more successful. So my intention, the thing that I intend on doing in 2019 is reduce my phone use or any screen use before going to sleep. So I'm going to stretch, do a face mask, read a book, I don't know, anything instead of using my phone or my laptop. So I'll keep you updated if you care on how that's going. I just think that I'll get way better sleeps, and sleep is so, so important to everybody's lives. So I don't know, we'll check in again in a month or something like that. I always say we're going to check in and then I'm like, but I never write down what we're going to check in on. Anyways, for this ep, I decided that I wanted to review some of the crazy things that happened in pop culture that rocked my world this year in 2018. And I decided to do this chronologically because I am a hard-hitting journalist. JK though, because like I am not a journalist. I'm a podcast host. Anyways, January started, and the craziest thing that happened to me in pop culture that affected me was the Ari and Becca breakup. I don't know. I don't want to start with this. Like, I actually hate that I'm starting with this, but I have to because this is what happened in January. Probably no one knows what I'm saying, but that was the tagline for his Bachelor season, was like, everything happens in January. I'm so sorry, you guys. I'm really, really sorry. Anyways, holy shit. It was insane. I actually like cannot believe how crazy it was and how many conversations and hours this whole thing like consumed of my life, but it did. Like, first off, why did he tape the breakup? I just thought that was such a poor decision because he came off so poorly. Like, when he was like following Becca around the house, it was insane. He looked like a murderer. And just like another fun little tidbit here, but Nick Viall, I am a Nick Viall truther, BT dubs, but Nick Viall posted a video on his Bad Chiller YouTube series with Jared and Dean. Like, they're kind of like skits or like little episode recaps of what happened, and they acted out, and I literally was like bursting out laughing. And like, I feel like you don't do that often. Like, you might like chuckle or like smile, or like, this is funny in your head, but like literally I was like bursting out laughing. So like, definitely like check that out. But he was like following her around the house. It was like really awkward. I felt so bad for Becca. Like, definitely should have done this in private and all of that type of stuff. Was he pressured to pick Becca, like, from the producers, but he couldn't say that because, like, obviously they would hate that? Did Becca actually like Ari? Because, like, they don't seem like a good match at all. Even though I'm not really like a Garrett fan, they seem just way more normal and just like a way better couple. So I don't know. I'm just wondering what happened there, and like, will we ever know what happened? It was the first huge pop culture news story that rocked my 2018. It is still so crazy to me. And Colton's season starts this coming Monday, so I don't know. Bachelor is front of mind for me. Did you guys remember that an Olympics happened this year? Because I literally blanked that out until I Googled like best pop culture stories of 2018. I could not even remember that happened, which I guess shows you like how much of a sports enthusiast I am, but also that it's like, that seems like a lifetime ago. Like, I was a different person back then. Anyways, the Olympics happened, quickly eclipsed by the Stormy Webster birth, where Kylie Jenner posted that like 7-minute video of her whole entire pregnancy and birth of Stormy, or should I say like Stormy. Also, people probably hate me for that, but that's how Kylie Jenner sounds in her Instagram videos. But do you remember what you were doing on February 1st, 2018 when that video dropped? Because I was sitting on my couch and that was posted. I watched the entire like 8 minutes or like 15 minutes or whatever, and then went and texted everyone I knew. It was insane. And I just remember all those months leading up to like her stepping away from the limelight and having the pregnancy in public and all that type of thing. It was just so great. It was so insane / crazy. All of the speculation beforehand, and how many times did I like discuss in depth with my girlfriends about like what she's doing, and then when it actually happened, so crazy. Another thing that was really exciting this year was lots of news for the royal family. I literally forgot that Prince Louis was born this year because of Meghan and Harry's wedding and baby announcement and tour of like Australia and other countries. And like, now that I'm saying that, I'm even second guessing myself. Like, was Prince Louis born this year? I think so. I think even Kate went on mat leave and has returned. But anyways, yay for Prince Louis. But more importantly, the Meghan and Harry wedding. It was so exciting. I actually love her wedding dress so much. I think it's so beautiful. And it's so 2018. Like, Kate's was stunning and she looked beautiful. Everything was very like classic and beautiful and princessy. But I think it was very like 2011 or whenever she got married. And Meghan's just like brought everything to the 21st century. I know that people said like her dress was like ill-fitted or wasn't exciting or anything like that, but I thought that it was absolutely beautiful. One fan theory that's been floating out there is that she like had a final fitting, but then was super nervous like the day or two before the wedding and maybe dropped some lbs, maybe couldn't keep food down or was too nervous to eat, and it was a little loose fitting. But I actually loved it. The fabric looked beautiful. I loved the neckline. I loved the tiara and the veil with the 53 Commonwealth countries flowers on it. I just loved everything about it. Everyone looked so good, and I don't know, it was just a very, very exciting time. And I loved looking at all of the content, all of the videos and pictures online. It was very, very fun. And then there was like all the drama with her crazy father, and then her baby announcement, which was like, I'm pretty sure like a day after Jack and Eugenie's wedding. I was really scared that I was going to say her name wrong. I think it's Eugenie, which is actually pretty because I think everyone pronounces it Eugenie, I don't know, and like that's not super cute, but I think it's Eugenie, and I actually like really like that. But she had such a beautiful wedding. It sounded like rumor has it that Harry and Meghan announced their pregnancy at her reception, or like literally like a day after, which was a little crazy and not super kind. But I don't know, it was just a very exciting time for the royal family and following all the royal family news. Another thing that happened, lots of couples, lots of romantic news this year, but the Hailey Baldwin and Justin Bieber engagement / subsequent wedding, question mark. I just was like always holding out hope for Selena. I'm a Jelena stan. Like, if Instagram was around when I went to high school, like I'd probably have one of those like fucking fan accounts, like Jelena Obsessed or something would be my handle. I don't know. Anyways, I've talked about this in a previous episode, which like kind of highlights that my life and the things I care about are just like a cyclical loop of shit that, I don't know, doesn't really matter but makes me happy. But Hailey and Justin got together, got engaged very quickly, got married. We're still unsure of the details. And then Hailey changed her Instagram account handle to Hailey Bieber. And I'm like sad and excited at the same time. It was like pretty shocking. And then Selena went to rehab for like anxiety and depression, and it was just a whole lot of drama. Hope you're doing well, Sel, and mazel tov to Hailey and Justin. Another thing this fall that was absolutely like insane that I watched like a hawk was the Khloe and Tristan scandal. How dare he? Khloe deserves so much more, and I'm like embarrassed because he's Canadian. I just thought it was so disrespectful that he could cheat on her it was like so blatant, and like didn't even try to hide any of it because it was all in public. But I don't know, it was just so insane that all of that came out. And the worst part is that it was right before the birth of beautiful True Thompson. So I kept this in the fall because that's when the Keeping Up with the Kardashians episode aired. And I watched with bated breath of what was happening with that. And then, I don't know, it kind of died down. She had been hanging out with him. She was back together with him. I was over it, mostly. And then this recent video came out, and I just feel so bad for her. Like, she can't catch a break, but she's like kind of dancing, kind of grinding up on him at a New Year's Eve party. And he's like straight up ignoring her. And then she kind of gives the camera like a look like Dubs TF, and then like I don't know, he still ignores her, and it's just like super awkward. I'm just like, Khloe, you're amazing, you had such a tough time with Lamar. Like, you deserve literally the moon and the stars. And I really don't think that that's Tristan Thompson. But I totally get that it's really tough when he is your baby's daddy. Anyways, looking forward to more Chloe and Tristan news in 2019. Another thing that I have to talk about is Ariana and Pete, which is still in the news as of even today when he's talking about their breakup in a comedy special. But it's just so insane that they were dating and then engaged after like 23 days or something like that. And again, I talked about this, I think, in episode 2. But I weirdly thought they weren't going to break up. And maybe that's because all of the tattoos that they got. But I don't know. I just thought that this couple would work. They broke up over the summer, and I don't know. The world hasn't been the same since then. The tattoos are covered up. She's hanging out with Ricky, even though they're just friends lately. And I don't know. Pete Davidson's doing a lot better than he was a few weeks ago. So that is great news. But yeah, that was like literally probably the most talked about news story of 2018, I think, in pop culture. I always want to specify pop culture because, like, obviously there's actual shit that matters that has happened this year. Some very tragic things, some inspiring things that obviously I follow along just as in depth. But I really use pop culture as a way to take a break and have a laugh and enjoy life. And it keeps me sane talking about things that are so, I don't know, mundane, I guess, or just kind of superficial. It kind of balances out the other stuff that's happening. And it's important. Like, people, I think, always look down on pop culture. Just like a random side note here, like, kind of shit on like reality TV and pop culture and celebrity gossip and stuff like that. But it's so like pervasive in our world, and like it dictates a lot of the other shit that happens in the world. Like, it's, I don't know, just part of the culture. So I don't know, I think it's important to study and view it with a critical eye and talk about it a little bit because it makes me feel better. Anyways, the Ariana and Pete thing was insane. I kind of wish I dressed up as her for Halloween, which is another callback to episode 1, but I hope that 2019 brings great things for those two and more music from Ariana Grande, please. Less music from Frankie Grande. And another thing that happened that was absolutely insane was when Julie Chen, host of Big Brother, signed off on one of the episodes as Julie Chen Moonves, which, like, my literal mouth dropped in that instant. I immediately went on Twitter to see what everyone's reactions were. It was absolutely insane. If you don't know, Julie Chen is a very popular CBS talk show host. She used to host The Talk, and she's been the host of Big Brother for 18 years, and she's amazing. I love her. And her husband is Les Moonves, who was the CEO of CBS, and he had some allegations that I think were proven to be accurate, that he had like sexually harassed some female employees. So everyone was wondering what was going to happen with Julie Chen, and in absolutely no way am I putting any of the blame on her, because often women take the fault of like men's actions. But it was just so shocking. It was such a, like, obviously CBS didn't know about it. The show on Thursdays, Big Brother, are taped live, and she signed off. She always signs off, and I'm Julie Chen. Good night. She signed off on Julie Chen Moonves, and literally my mouth dropped. It was so insane. And literally, has anything happened since then? There was a lot of highlights and lowlights of my 2018. I traveled to 8 different countries, but about eight new countries. I met many new friends. I reconnected with old friends. One low light was when I was traveling in Europe. I literally dumped a bottle of water on someone's head. That was like honestly the low light that stands out to me the most, and I'm actually like blushing as I recount this story. But I was on a train and put my backpack on the overhead compartment above me, and I had a water bottle, just like a plastic water bottle, in the front of my bag, and I guess I pushed it in too hard, and the top was like exploded, like came off, and literally dumped an entire water bottle over someone's head. Like it was like a family, like a dad and like 2 little boys, and it just like rained down on their head. And I was in Belgium, I think, and English was their second language, and it was just literally the most embarrassing thing of my like whole entire life. I remember it very vividly to this day. The family like jumped up and they were like, "Oh my God, what is that?" I'm like, "It's just water. I'm so sorry." And I soaked like 4 seats, and no one could sit on them because they were like soaking wet. And the train was so full, and then people kept trying to say, "Can I sit by you?" And I had to be like, "This seat is wet. I don't know how, but it's wet." And I was just like so embarrassed. And then like no one would let me live it down. And I texted my family and I was like, "Hi, this just happened. Am I still like a part of this family?" And I texted my boyfriend. I was like, "Hey, this just happened. Like, we still dating?" Because I was like literally unsure with the status of my membership of my family and my partner. Anyways, yeah, dumping a bottle of water on like a cute little family was definitely a low light. I cooked tons of Mexican food. I continued to learn Spanish. I tried tons of new things, found new hobbies, found new content to follow online, started a pod, and I really can't wait for 2019. So here is to the next 3 months when you write 2018 instead of 2019 on all of the forms you fill out. That is it for me tonight. I'm glad you made it this far. And I can't wait to the next couple podcasts ahead. One thing that you can do that will really help the pod grow is to follow us. And I say follow us. I know that it's just me, but I like saying us. It sounds super despy if I just say me, but follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at RTBP podcast, and give us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes podcasts. You can also listen along on SoundCloud or YouTube. And also, I know you're out there. In addition to my 7 loyal listeners, the pod has almost 200 plays. So please let me know what you're petty about and what I should discuss next. I would love to hear from you. Anyways, I'm your host, Torry, and as always, I'm ready to be petty.